Hey guys, it's Ian Lives, and in today's video, we're going to do kind of a rant. Not a complete movie review, which I was going to do for this movie, but I watched it, I didn't like it, and it kind of just made me mad, and I wanted to talk about the main problem with horror nowadays. The main problem that we're having and that we're seeing. Of course, today I'm going to be ranting about The Strangers Chapter 1. Now, when they announced this trilogy, I wasn't very excited. I was interested more than excited. Like, hopefully this will surprise me, but I'm not going to be jumping out of my seat to go see it. The original Strangers film is a movie that I watched way later than other people because that was one of those forsaken movies from my childhood that I couldn't watch. After watching it, I did really enjoy it. I thought it was very scary and effective for what it was trying to do. It was very realistic. It was very paranoia. It made you paranoid. I loved the cinematography when they're standing behind you. I thought it was all really effective. The sequel, Prey at Night, didn't work with me as much as the original. I understand that they were going for the 80s slasher feel to it. It's very classic slasher. It's not as realistic and it's not as serious. It has its moments, but overall, I thought it was just okay. When the trailers for Strangers Chapter 1 came out, it basically proved my point of not being excited. Because it looked like the same damn movie. They basically showed scenes in the trailer that literally happened in the original film. And that was the whole trailer. It was just shit that you've already seen in the other movies. And I was like, this is really what this movie's going to be. They're not going to try anything new. They're not going to add a different flavor of genre like the sequel did. They're just going to do the same thing. After watching it, I can successfully say that they did just that. They did the same damn thing. This movie is basically a beat-for-beat remake, but it's not trying to be a remake. It's trying to be a sequel. Well, not a full sequel, but a reboot. You follow these two characters. I don't have my thing with me, so I don't know the actress's name, but she was in Riverdale, and she seems to have a fan base, and you know, she's cute, whatever. They get this Airbnb, and the strangers come and get them. That's the whole damn movie. Now, I'm going to talk about what I didn't like about the movie, some more cons or whatever, and then I'm going to talk about this trend that's happening in horror right now that needs to stop. The first thing that I want to talk about is Richard Brake is in this movie. I'm so mad about this. I'm so mad that I just have to say it right off the bat. Richard Brake is in here, which if you don't know who he is, he was in Barbarian, he was in some of the Rob Zombie films. He was in something else too. He was in Mandy. He's been in a lot of horror movies. He's very tapped into the genre, and I'm a huge fan of him. Oh yeah, he was recently in Last Stop at Yuma County, which is a fantastic movie. He plays this sheriff, or this cop, that's like, there's a scene where they're in the diner, and you see him, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Richard Brake. He's gonna save this movie. He's gonna be the hero cop, and he's gonna save this movie. He's gonna bring a good performance. That's the only scene that he's in, and he doesn't talk, not a single word. Why cast Richard Brake? He has, okay, maybe he'll do something in chapter 2 or 3, but it pissed me off. I was mad when the credits rolled. I was like, really? No Richard Brake? You're gonna put him in my face like that and then not show him again? That's just, it's aggravating. Now, again, as I said before, something that the original did really good was having the characters behind the main protagonist that you're looking at. They were behind her, and they were in like a shadow or something, and there was no sound effects or noise cues that would signal you into looking in that direction. If you saw it, you saw it, which is what made that so effective, because you're focusing on this character. She's going through this, and then you're like, what is that in the back? Oh my god, that's him in the background right there. He's right there. In this one, they try to do the same thing, right? But what they do is they put these generic stock sounding sound effects, the boom, and they're behind them. Or what they will do is they will focus the camera on them, which defeats the whole point of doing that. Every single jump scare is the same. I mean, there's one in the shower where she's taking a shower. You see him. He's right there. Boom. He's in the glass. She moves like just a little bit and he's gone. So there's another flaw. It's not realistic. It's very, very, very cliche. It's one of the most predictable horror films I've ever seen. It feels like, you know, like those commercials. I think Geico has a commercial where they make fun of horror movies where they have the girl run in the house where the people are getting killed. This is what this movie feels like. It feels like a parody. It feels like I'm watching somebody make fun of horror movies. They do the stupidest decisions. Every single one of the characters do the stupidest decisions. It follows the beatest path that you could ever take. It's so straight. There's never anything that I'm like, oh my god, no way that just happened. It's just like, that's about to happen. Oh, yep, it happened. I bet you that's gonna happen. Oh, yep, it just happened. It feels like a straight to VOD movie from like the early 2000s. One of those crappy movies, maybe even in a sense of like Wrong Turn, which I know has its fan base. I'm not a part of it. I don't enjoy Wrong Turn. I haven't seen the sequels. But it just feels like that kind of like, ooh, I found this DVD. It's got cool box art. I'm going to go watch it. It had that kind of feeling to it. Oh, yeah. I didn't think the actress did that good of a job. No shade on her. I thought her performance was very over dramatic. It was just so eye roll inducing. All the performances were like that. And yeah, it was just a very bad movie. It's one of the worst horror movies of the year, which, to be honest, it has competition. There's been some really bad horror movies this year, which is going to segue into the second conversation of this movie. Or this video, sorry. I'm so angry, I'm not even making sense. Horror, lately, has been very unoriginal. And a lot of people are starting to pick up on that. And they're starting to be like, can we do something original again? Obviously, we're getting our original movies as well. Like Maxine, Long Legs. I saw The TV Glow recently. In a Violent Nature just recently came out. There's some original movies that are coming out that are trying to do something new. They're trying to do something new completely, or they're trying to do something new with something that we've seen before, like a slasher film, like how In a Violent Nature, I haven't seen it yet, but from what I know about it, it's taking a movie like Friday the 13th and doing a whole different point of view and concept on it, which makes the unoriginal original again. It's like you're taking something that we've seen before, but you're putting a fresh new coat of paint on it. I would much rather see that than these just boring cash grabs that are coming out. Obviously, you get original films that are also not very good, like Night Swim and Imaginary, both Blumhouse products, and were both very bad movies. Again, I said, this movie has competition for being the worst of the year because there's been a lot. Founders Day, most recently, was one of the worst slashers I've ever seen. But those are original because they're not taking a property and doing a new spin on it. Now, movies like Twisters that's coming soon, which I've never seen the original Twister because, to be honest, I'm scared of tornadoes, so I kind of stay away from those movies because they give me extremely bad anxiety. I don't like them. I'm going to watch it at some point, though, to watch the sequel. But it, again, just feels like it's cashing out on nostalgia. It's taking something that people that are like 20 years old now remember from their childhood, and they're cashing out on it. I mean, they're announcing remakes left and right. Christine, they're doing a remake of Christine, apparently. Arachnophobia, which I have hope in Arachnophobia because it's directed by the guy that did Freaky and Happy Death Day, and he has a great sense of humor and style. So I'm excited to see that. There was also a bunch of other stuff announced that I'm blanking. Oh yeah, Blumhouse is doing a new Blair Witch, which again, that's in the 90s era. That's just becoming super nostalgic, and especially this year, a lot of stuff that was huge in the 90s are getting rehashed because it's nostalgic now. Pretty soon you'll see movies from the early 2000s getting remade. It's just a matter of time when something becomes nostalgic. And I think people are getting kind of fed up with it. I know the new Ghostbusters had a lot of feedback like that. Like, this movie's just trying to cash in on nostalgia. They're bringing back all these old people. Like, why can't you do something different with your same concept? So yeah, there's a lot of unoriginal movies coming out. Horror has not been great. There's been no in between. It's had its highs and it's had its extremely lows, but there's been no in between this year. It's very 50-50 so far. You're gonna get the great movies, like Maxine, Alien Romulus, which again isn't original because it's part of a franchise, but it looks like it's gonna be a promising movie. It's doing something different by not following the same tone as the previous two movies and going back to the tone of the first one. At least that's what they're saying they're going to do. They're going to make it more horror oriented, which we haven't seen since the 79 film. So again, they're doing something different with a concept we've seen before. So Alien Romulus, I'm super excited for. Maxine, again, I keep saying Maxine. Again, not original, but it's part of a trilogy that is modern and is original. And it shows you how, like, if you put in the work and the time to make a good original movie, it's going to get lifted off the ground. It's going to get good feedback. It's going to get good reception. You're going to make money. These companies just, they think that if they just keep doing these nostalgic rehashes that they're going to make money. And they're partially right. They're for sure going to make money. For sure. I mean, there's going to be people that are like, again, 20-something-year-old, and they take all their friends to go see the movie because they saw it when they were kids. You're going to get that, for sure. But also, I think if the movie's original and the trailers are striking, you're going to make money the same way. They're just so scared. These companies are so scared. They don't want to have a bomb. And there has been a lot of bombs lately. I was thinking of doing a video about that, the whole theater situation where that new Mad Max movie completely bombed. And that was supposed to be like the huge blockbuster, and it was actually a well-received movie, and it still didn't do great in the box office. So the theaters are kind of in a down spot already. So just put your creativity out there. You know, if it bombs, so what? You know how many popular movies that we consider amazing now that bombed in theaters? Mostly all of them. Fight Club did horrible in theaters when it came out, and now that's regarded as one of the best movies of all time. These companies are so scared because they want to make all their money in theaters, and there's no physical media anymore. Well, I mean, there is, but it's all about streaming. They're not going to put their priorities and their bets on making money over physical media. That was kind of, not the ramble, but that was kind of like the relief of if your movie bombed. Let's say that there was a movie in like the early 2000s that came out and didn't do great in theaters, but it completely took off on VHS or DVD. That, like, those formats made money. They made huge money, and they don't make that much money now. Sure, you'll have people like me and collectors that still buy it, and they're still making physical media, of course, but it won't fund these huge budgets. That's another thing. Low budget back in the day was like $3,000, $10,000. Nowadays, low budget is $500,000, $1 million even sometimes is considered low budget. It's just crazy. It's crazy to me, because if you make a low budget movie for $500,000, now you kind of have to expect to make at least $500,000 in box office. So why not just dump $100 million into a crappy generic remake of a found footage movie that came out in the 90s? I mean, like, how is that even going to work? How are they going to remake Blair Witch? I understand the My Bloody Valentine thing, because that's a slasher. Slashers are easy to remake, and they're easy to be bad but good. But yeah, that was basically my rant about The Strangers Chapter 1. Which also kind of tied into my rant about the current state of horror and its biggest flaw, especially in recent times. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you thought it was interesting. Please subscribe to the channel. Turn on the bell. Follow my Discord server in the link in the description below. Follow my Instagram at @IanLives_, and follow my Letterboxd at wehateian. And I love you guys. Let me know your thoughts on this topic down below.